It has been nearly 5 months since a Georgia special grand jury recommended indictments for more than a dozen people in the Fulton County District Attorney's investigation into 2020 election interference by Donald Trump and his allies. Today, 2 grand juries were selected, one of which could be asked to decide whether to follow through on those recommendations and potentially hand Trump his 3rd indictment. Back in January, Fulton County DA Fani Willis said her decision on whether to bring charges was imminent. She later hinted in May that a decision could be on the way before the end of summer, likely early next month. This as Trump and his legal team are trying to put the brakes on another legal matter, the special counsel's criminal trial involving Trump's mishandling of classified documents. They are asking the previously Trump-friendly Florida judge to postpone the trial indefinitely, presumably until after the 2024 presidential election. In a 12-page court filing, they argued that Trump would be too busy, both by running for president and attending to his many other legal matters, to prepare for this one. They claim that any attempt to start the trial this year would be unrealistic and result in a miscarriage of justice. Joining me now is Mary McCord, former acting Assistant Attorney General for National Security. She is co-host of the MSNBC podcast, Prosecuting Donald Trump. And Greg Bluestein, political reporter for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Greg, I do want to start with you because I think the thing that people first need to understand is why there are 2 new grand juries when there was already a special grand jury. Can you please explain?
Yeah, it's such an important question because the special grand jury essentially had investigatory powers. It could subpoena witnesses. It could compel witnesses to testify who might not have otherwise been able to testify or wanted or agreed to testify. But it doesn't have the power to indict. It could recommend indictments to Fani Willis, the district attorney of Fulton County. Ultimately, it's going to be up to this regular grand jury that just convened today. We're not sure which of these 2 panels that convened is going to be the panel that actually takes up the Donald Trump case, but we're pretty confident that one of them is going to take up that case.
And let me ask you this. Is this a case of special treatment for Donald Trump? Like if Donald Trump's name was Joe Slobodnik, would he be getting a second grand jury to look at what the first grand jury did?
I think it's an indicator of how complex this case is, because although we've seen indictments in Miami and Washington and Miami and New York involving Donald Trump, this case is going to go, it looks like, beyond Donald Trump to his inner circle, to potentially members of the fake GOP elected slate here in Georgia, the elector slate. And so this is, they're talking about RICO anti-conspiracy charges here. So there's a lot of moving parts here. It's not as cut and dry maybe as some of the other investigations that are going on.
And so, Mary, let me bring you in on that, because, as a former prosecutor, does this make sense to you that one grand jury would look at the case itself and go through the evidence, and then a whole separate set of eyes decides to indict? Does that make sense to you?
Well, it's just the process in Georgia, and it's what they have to do, because that special grand jury under Georgia authorities just did not have the power to return an indictment. So under Georgia law, for a felony, you have to have a grand jury make the decision to indict based on probable cause. So they kind of had to impanel a new grand jury. Now, I do think it's important to realize that doesn't necessarily mean that all of the evidence that the special grand jury heard has to be represented in front of this grand jury. There may be some evidence that the prosecutor thinks wasn't important enough to represent. And others they can do by reading the transcripts of the witnesses. They don't necessarily have to call every witness to come back in and testify again. So it could go much quicker. The grand jury might say, oh, that person we actually want to come testify in person because we want to be able to assess their credibility. But it can be a much more streamlined process.
Yeah. And let's just get to because the idea, Donald Trump's team is looking for special treatment. Let's just be clear. This is what they said in their filing. They said President Trump he's former President Trump is running for president of the United States and is currently the likely Republican nominee. The undertaking requires a tremendous amount of time and energy, and that effort will continue into the election on November 5th, 2024. This schedule makes trial preparation and the defendants challenging, blah, blah, blah. Now, we do know that the Judge Cannon, who's presiding over his federal trial on the documents, has said in the past the following: based on the nature of the action, the principles of equity require the court to consider the specific context at issue, and that consideration is inherently impacted by the position formerly held by the plaintiff. In layman's terms, he deserves special treatment. Is it at all possible, can you foresee her pushing the trial back? Because that would essentially mean it could be happening while he's president. He could just dismiss it.
Well, I think this is one of the real tests, right? So when the parties argue this, and it might happen next Tuesday, and it might be some other separate argument, she will have to make findings under the Speedy Trial Act that the interests of justice really outweigh the rights of the defendant and the public to a speedy trial in order to grant a continuance. It doesn't necessarily mean she's going to grant it indefinitely the way that they have proposed. She could take an intermediate step. She could actually say, let's just get started with motions and see how that goes and then revisit this question. But she has to make findings under the law if she's going to grant a continuance. I think the request for more time beyond December 11th is not necessarily unreasonable in a case like this where we have classified documents. We have to go through special procedures under CIPA. I think some of the rationales in that motion are ridiculous, and the motion has the political overtones and is said multiple times, this is a political prosecution by a political opponent. And of course, that's just false. This is not brought by President Biden. This is brought by the Department of Justice.
And a grand jury. Let's play really quickly what Chris Christie had to say, because it's interesting, and I kind of want to play this out with you. Here's Chris Christie saying what he thinks Trump is thinking.
I've known him for 22 years. When I was doing these cases in New Jersey, and I would put political figures in jail, he would say to me, I could never do that. I could never go to jail. And I'm telling you, no matter what he says, no matter how he's bragging and going on about him not being afraid, he goes to bed every night thinking about the sound of that jail cell door closing behind him.
Greg, I'm going to ask you to expose some of your reporting, if there is any talk around Fani Willis's world, in her world, that they would ever be open to some sort of blanket immunity deal that could involve both the state and federal charges? Has that been discussed? Have you heard anything like that?
Not that we've heard at all. There's been talk, of course, and we've reported on immunity deals for some members of the fake elector slate, for instance, issues like that. But it's gone from the ground level up rather than from Donald Trump down, because everything we've heard, all signs of pointing to a potential indictment of the former president. All the members of the special grand jury couldn't name names. They've said on background and on the record that we're looking at big names involved, names that we all know.